Okay, today what our lesson will be about is about how to write an academic essay. You're all going to need to do this for exams or for any other project. So, here I have a diagram, looks like a totem pole, but I haven't made it pretty. These shapes are not just pretty. I think we conceive things in our minds with shapes. So up here we have abstract, introduction, paragraph 1, 2 and 3, which is the body paragraph, there, and conclusion. So let's break this down. First part we ignore is the abstract. So start off with an abstract, ignore it. Take it out of your mind. It does not exist. To the naked man, as I say. And this is the introduction. And the introduction has 3 good parts to a good introduction. By the way, class, if you wish to interrupt me, if you wish to ask any questions, just feel free, just come out and have and say it. Right. Topic sentence. This should stimulate our interest. So a topic sentence is something which should make the reader want to read it. But alternatively, it should focus you on what you're going to say. And that's why I put a star there, because it's very important. So, who can remember what we were doing last week? Who can remember what we looked at last week? Nope, no one can remember?
What?
Last week we looked at Cicero and the Chrysogonus. Remember the drama?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, Cicero. Good.
Excellent. Well done. So, let's say I gave you an essay title which said, I don't know, what does Cicero's account of the court case with Chrysogonus show us about law in ancient Rome? Can you just, I know it's a bit of a hard thing, can you just think of a topic sentence?
Verbal
Okay.
eloquency?
Sorry?
Verbal eloquency?
Yes, okay. Anything else? None of us? It's a bit of a hard thing to do. Well, you could say things like, for a good topic sentence, Roman law rested on oratory, money, and religious ritual. Just something off the top of our head. But it focuses you and entices the reader. Think of it as an advertisement. Notice the rectangular is long, okay? So it gives you a lot to focus on. A lot to focus on. So now you know what to focus on. Your next part is your explication. That's a nice word. Does anyone know what explication means?
The same curriculum that explain topic sentence. You have to.
Yes.
Explain.
Yeah, explain.
Explain. Yeah. It's like explain, but it's a bit more different. It's to really expound. Do you understand what that word means? Really to go on to expound, to write about a philosophical thesis or an ideology, not just to explain what it is, but to define it in your own terms. And that's what it does. So once you have your topic sentence, from that you get your explication, and if you notice how it goes down. It's getting narrower towards the end. It goes down. Okay? Last but not least, the thesis statement. Thesis is ultimately your opinion statement. Okay, what your opinion is. It's not what the right opinion is, not what the real opinion is, it's your opinion. What your opinion is. And I have given this a big red star, because that is very, very important. Make it one sentence, so make it short, and roughly give 3 points about what the topic will be, about what the topic of your essay will be. Okay, that's what you really need to do. And that's in your introduction. Do we have any questions? No? Okay, that's good. I'm doing well. Let's move on. The anatomy of a paragraph. Well, a paragraph is like an anatomist. You take things out of things. The only difference is there's no body, there's no dead body, and there's no blood. So it's not that difficult. So this is a paragraph here. Once again, notice the shape. topic sentence. Now, once again you have a topic sentence, but unlike the previous topic sentence in the introduction, this does not have to grab the attention. You've already done it, so you don't need to grab the attention in a special way. One sentence, sorry?
But this has to support the idea of the thesis statement, right?
Yes, it does have to support the idea of the thesis statement. But yes, support the idea of the thesis statement, of course, yes. But this is one sentence I've put down there, but it doesn't have to be one sentence. It doesn't have to be. Explication, once again, you explain what's in your topic sentence. Okay? So you expound on it. You explain it. How the idea or the ideology seems to you. Interestingly, if you look, it's a block, okay? So you don't go down into anything. You don't say, well, it starts here, let's go down. It's not like that. You explain it in the way you feel is satisfactory. Last but not least, paragraph transition. Now, they don't have to be at the end of the sentences, don't have to be at the end of the paragraph, sorry. But they sort of knit a paragraph together. They join it together and they give it humanity. Some people say you don't need them. I, for one, really think you do need them. Because what happens when you don't have when you have an essay without transitional phrases, it's like an orchestra where you just have one sound and another sound without any coordination. When you have a transitional sentence, you have a nice conducted music. So it's not just like, the drums, bang, 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 the flute, and all the rest of it. It puts it together rather neatly. Once again, it doesn't have to be at the end, but certainly it can be on the next paragraph. So that's what you do for paragraph 1. And then, for paragraph 2, what do you do for paragraph 2, do you think?
The last sentence of the paragraph 1 has to kind of go with the first topic sentence of paragraph 2.
Yes.
So it should be coinciding.
Yes,
Not
it should be. And equally, you do the same thing. Topic sentence, explanation. That's what you do in paragraph 2, and that's what you do in paragraph 3. You basically, please, Rokai.
But if you ask a question in paragraph 1, shouldn't you answer it in paragraph 3?
No. Reason being, because if your question, very good question by the way, the question in paragraph 1 is already answered. You've answered that point. You've given your explanation. Okay? The question has been asked in the introduction. Okay, the questions, because it's 3 points. Paragraph 1 will deal with whatever. Paragraph 2 will deal with whatever. So if I gave you an essay title, what made Sparta the most dominant military power in ancient Greece, and you felt it was war, they had a slave population, you need one other thing.
It's cultural military too.
And a military culture. Right, so let's say 1, you would have said military culture. 2, you would have explained the fact they had slaves. And then 3, you would have gone for a militaristic culture. So there's no need to explain. Okay, transition words. This is anything I could think of, the glasses, anything I could get a picture of. But there you go, transition words. Now, some people say there's no hard and fast rule. You have a transition word in the beginning of your first paragraph. So first of all, or to begin with. On the other hand, I feel there's no need for it because you've already done that. Your thesis statement is like a transitional phrase. So I've given that Zeus's thunderbolt there. That's me. But as I said, there's no hard and fast rule, but it's good. But once again, as I said, you have to knit these things together, the body paragraph. Because if this is the way essays can sound human, you can put your own humanity into it, your own creativity. So let's think of some transitional phrases. Can anyone got some transitional words or phrases? Can anyone give me some?
Evidently.
Evidently. Good, I haven't got that one. It's rather more consequently.
However.
However. Yes, however.
Moreover.
Moreover. However. Yes, depending on what you do.
Hence.
Oh, sorry?
Hence.
Hence is a good one.
Therefore.
Therefore is a good one. I will give you a sheet. which will show you what type of transitional phrases they are. And finally, is a sort of a common one for the last sort of paragraph. When you get to the conclusion, your transitional phrases become a little bit more, how can I put it? Your transitional phrases don't become so it's like therefore or moreover. You want to say summary and conclusion. French, please.
Précisément.
Thank you. That's right. In English, it just means a summary of many points. Does that mean in French it means a specific point?
It means specifically.
Specifically. Well, in English it means the summary of many points, so you can use that. And once again, as you go on to write essays, you'll find out your own conclusional transitional phrases for the conclusion. But what's important to remember with this, it should always be clear that you're concluding. Okay? You shouldn't have to read and then find out you're concluding. Okay? Now the conclusion is like your introduction, but it's the other way around. Okay? So, you paraphrase your thesis statement. What does it mean to paraphrase?
Put it in other words.
In other words, you paraphrase, you put it in other words. You paraphrase your thesis statement, and you do that at the beginning. Yeah? You paraphrase your thesis statement. You don't repeat it, you paraphrase it. Then you summarize your main points. You will make many points in your essay, but there aren't main points, and you will decide those main points, and you will summarize your main points. And something I think is a good thing to do is end with the broader significance of the subject. So if you remember, we spoke about Homer, for example. We spoke about, did he really exist? Was it one person? Was it many persons who wrote this? Is it a really true story? Well, we can broaden the significance and say, well, there were other Greek poets, other Greek and Roman poets for that matter, with whom oral tradition is what we have, and we should equally look at them with the same seriousness as Homer. So to broaden the experience, it shows certainly this is a part which shows the reader that you haven't just done the essay because you've been sent it. There's an interest there because you have broader significance. So that broader significance should be connected with what you're writing. You don't suddenly say, oh, by the way, I think Brazil should have Ronaldo in Ireland. We're their team. It should be connected with what you're saying. Okay, so there we are. That looks like a Christmas tree, I've just recognised. I don't know. That was not totally unintentional, but there you go. So, now we get to the abstract, and this is the basic components of an abstract. Can we have someone to read this out for us, please? One, go for it.
Motivation, problem statement. Why do we care about the problem? What practical, theoretical, or intellectual gap is your essay filling?
So that's the first one. So why have you written? What is the what intellectual gap do you fill? Two, I'll read this one. So what methods in your approach have you got? Now, I chose this one because at university, this is what I was given. I was given a title, was Herodotus a historian or a storyteller? And I chose some stories to prove that he was a storyteller. So a historian, sorry. So what you do is you look at your procedure, your approach, how you wrote this essay, what you did, how you wrote this. And this is in your abstract. Three, can someone read three for me, please? Go for it.
Results, findings, product. As a result of completing the above procedure, what has been learned, understood?
Okay, what has been learned, what has been understood from what you have written? 5, your conclusion and implications. What are the implications of your findings? Do you remember when I said that the conclusion, what are the broader implications? This is what are the implications of your finding for whatever title it will be. And last but not least, keywords. And these should be nouns and adjectives. Now you may think, well, what does an abstract look like? Who has ever seen an abstract, by the way? Oh, there we are. Oh, that's a good joke. Yes, that is a good joke, actually. Oh, that's good. Well, here we are. Here is an abstract. This is the title of the Trojan War. It's an abstract from someone's actual thing. And the reason why you have them is so that when people do research, they can look up things. And these are the key words here. And this is what the person does, puts them in. Now, at this stage of your studies, to speak about abstracts you may think is a bit too much, a bit of a lunatic thing to do. But good habits are like bad habits. Once you get into them, you never lose them. So, I'm not going to ask you to do a 200-word abstract or anything, but it's good to know it's there, and it's good to just do something. Because eventually, when you go on to your studies, especially with the humanities, you will have to do abstracts. And especially in an information world where people are looking for your work. Okay. So let's look at this diagram that I made. So, where is it? Oh, no. Let's go back. Number 1. I don't know if we can see this in yellow. I don't know why I did this actually. Number 1. Your topic sentence should be related to your thesis statement, okay? And in between your explication in which arrives at that thesis statement. Number 2, here we have your thesis statement. Okay, so you know what your thesis statement is now about, and this thesis statement is proved in powers 1, 2, and 3. That's where it is now proved. Okay? 3. Sorry, it's not making me sound like children. I think you know what 3 is. Then you have your thesis statement. Now you look at your thesis statement again, and you travel down and you summarize your thesis statement. Okay? Then you put the main points in your conclusion and the broader significance. Now, the broader significance, once again, you don't have to put it, but it shows interest, it shows research, and who's going to be the brilliant person to tell me what we do last? I love this. Yes. The abstract. And the abstract should always be done last, because you may add things, but once it's always in your head, once you've got all the information in your head and you really know what you're talking about, then you can write a good abstract. And that's your essay. So, something I found particularly hard, but it's actually not that particularly hard when you look at it, and we won't look at it in general, in full, because there's so many things, are references. Okay, why do we reference, class?
To avoid plagiarism.
Yes, another reason?
Solidify our points.
Yes, support your argument.
Support your argument, yes. Yeah. And equally so that someone can go and look at what you've verify, look at what you've said, if you know that you've understood what you've said.
Additional information.
Yeah, additional information, that sort of thing. Now, this is a standard bibliography of a book. The standard bibliography of a book. So, first of all, I don't know who this person is. Oshin A. I don't know who that person is. I don't know who that is. Some may say it's me, but no, I don't think so. You got Oshin A. That's the author. So first of all, you put the author. By the way, this is the Harvard method. Okay, there are many sorts of ways to reference. Most universities would use the Harvard method. Okay, I personally wish they just used one method. But yeah, there you go. Dates of publication. Once again, I've chosen, I don't know why I chose 1972. What's so peculiar about 1972 and Aoshin, I don't know. There you go. The title of the book, The Ancient World, you always put the title there. The place of publication, yeah, London. Now this is something interesting. Sometimes cities, you can mention a city and you're not really sure where it is. There's a London in America and all the rest of it. Generally, London, when people say London, they mean London, Britain. But there are other cities which there are two place names. If that is the case, just put the initials, of the country in parentheses by the side. So London, parentheses, UK. Okay? So let's say you study in America or something. So please.
So Frankfurt, there's Frankfurt in Germany, of
Yeah.
course, and Frankfurt in New York State.
Yes. So you put Frankfurt. What is the international? So if the place of publication was Frankfurt in New York State, then you put Frankfurt.
NYC.
no, not NYC, parentheses,
NYC.
USA. USA.
Paris, France and Paris, Texas.
Yes, there's an Athens, Texas as well. So, but generally, if you say Paris, people know what you mean. Once again, though, if it is Paris, Texas, of course, then put that there, because they will say, well, where's the book? Last but not least, this is the name of my college, the publisher, King's College London. So, let's just have a little riddle for you here. Can someone do the first thing for me?
Sparta was a Greek city whose aim was to produce men who were all trained fighters, brave, saw warfare as the greatest honor, and who would never question or disobey the orders of their superiors. This view has been supported in the work of Ocean, 1972.
Okay. Be nice if I had students like that. Can we have somebody read the other one, please?
Ocean 1972, PP 3435, state that Sparta was a city dedicated to warfare. It produced well-trained fighters who saw battle and obedience to their leader as the highest of virtue. Unlike other Greek cities, it saw little or no value in philosophy, art, and music unless it helped produce warriors.
Okay, which is a direct quotation and which is an indirect quotation?
Indirect is the first one, direct is the second.
Yep.
We have got some consensus on that? Yeah, this is the indirect, because it's an indirect. It contains some of what I've said, indirect. When you do this, okay, I'll paraphrase it, sometimes called, always state the book, always state, the author, the source, the author, and the date. Okay, or it's considered plagiarism. Do you know what plagiarism is?
Yep.
What's that?
Take somebody else's
Copy.
work.
Copy. And it's taken very seriously, academically, it's taken very, very seriously. And trust me, in the computer age, it's taken even more seriously. And this obviously is a direct quotation. And notice, when you have a direct quotation, you give us the directions. Okay? And then you put, obviously, quotation marks. Now, there's a lot more to reference it. Trust me, there's a lot more, and we won't do it now. But, there we go. Does anyone have any questions? First of all. Okay, I hope that's clear. So, in the words of a good cartoon, that's all, folks. Okay, I think it's quite hot. I think if we take a 10 minutes break, have a cup of coffee, maybe you want to buy me a cup of coffee, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the film I have to show you about the Spartacus Rebellion, and we'll move on. Okay? Thank you. So, 10 minutes.